It's just the politics in LA it's almost like watching people who are in a cult who are being confronted by the cult experts who are telling them, hey, this is all crazy and fake and you're ruining your life, and they're like, no, I think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan just called out the absolute disaster that is Los Angeles politics, and the fire crisis has exposed everything. He's comparing LA's political leadership to a cult that refuses to face reality. We're diving into how crony capitalism and bureaucratic incentives have destroyed America's second largest city.
Well, that's what I enjoyed about your campaign, and that's what I was really hopeful about, is that it seemed like you were not running for mayor because you wanted to be the mayor. You were running for mayor because you're a businessman, and you realized that this was not being run like a successful business.
Right.
And you knew how to run a successful business. You knew the difference. And LA is just constantly plagued by this crony political movement. The same people, same type of people shuffling in and out, and just nothing ever changes.
This crony system is exactly what's plaguing every major Democratic stronghold. The same insiders rotate between positions, enriching themselves while cities decay. Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, identical patterns. When there's zero accountability and guaranteed re-election, why would anything change?
And why is so much money spent on it and no results? We've covered it on this podcast that there's people that are bureaucrats that work for this Department of Homelessness, and they're making $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
And they have no incentive whatsoever to make anything better because it doesn't hurt them.
Right.
They're not paid based on whether or not they clean up the homeless issue.
Right.
They're just paid. So the longer the homeless issue goes on, the more they keep their job.
Right.
And it's a profitable job.
The perverse incentives are staggering. LA's homeless industrial complex employs thousands making six-figure salaries to perpetuate the problem. If homelessness disappeared tomorrow, these bureaucrats would lose their cushy jobs. Success literally threatens their livelihood.
Correct.
Very much so. Probably half. And drug addiction.
Drug addiction, a lot of that comes from mental health issues as well, right?
Yes.
So what could be done? I mean, you're dealing with an enormous population of people that have this issue. It's probably closer to 100,000 in LA County.
Maybe.
That's the high estimates, right? So let's say 70,000 to 100,000 people. You have a lot of people. What could be done to have some sort of a large program that gets real results with helping these people with their mental health issues and helping these people with their drug addiction issues?
California's deinstitutionalization in the 1970s dumped mentally ill patients onto streets without support systems. Now we're dealing with generations of untreated addiction and psychosis. The scale is unprecedented. 70,000 to 100,000 people represents a medium-sized city living in chaos.
And that what Skid Row was, they would take people, they would arrest them for being vagrants somewhere else, and they'd bring them to Skid Row and just leave them there and basically box them in and leave them in this area. And they had, soup kitchens and places where they could get food, and they were allowed to just sleep on the street, and so they just stayed there. And so they essentially, instead of fixing this problem of homeless people and mentally ill people, they just pushed them into this one area and they said, let's just, we got a spot, we could just stick them. Let's
we can turn our back on it.
And then, of course, every business in that area got devastated.
Yep.
All those hotels is glorious old classic hotels. I mean, in fact, the Morrison Hotel just caught fire because vagrants were living in it, and it's gone now.
Yep.
Skid Row perfectly exemplifies progressive governance. Don't solve problems, just relocate them where wealthy voters can't see. They created an open-air asylum, destroyed local businesses, and called it compassion. It's government failure masquerading as humanitarian policy.
So the water. What is the explanation for why that enormous reservoir that provides the Palisades with water was empty?
Well, the explanation that's been said is it's out of service because the cover on it needed to be repaired.
Oh, the cover.
The cover. Because, we're very sensitive in LA that bad things don't get in our water. So they have to keep all these reservoirs covered, which in general I get. I get the safety of that. But how about this? You know that you have catastrophic winds coming. Start pumping water in it because nobody gives a shit about what's in the water.
Yeah.
When you need it in your fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, that could have been done in probably a couple of weeks.
Whatever it took.
Yeah.
Having empty water reservoirs during fire season borders on criminal negligence. LA has predictable Santa Ana winds every year. This isn't climate change. It's basic infrastructure management. Heads should roll for this preventable catastrophe.
even the spin masters, even the greatest of gaslighters have nothing. There's not one person who's tried to pass the buck.
Yeah.
I've not seen one successful person go on the air and say everything was done that could have been done. We have amazing leadership. We're really proud of them. We're really lucky we have them.
Right.
Not one.
You're right.
Not one.
but
That's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
Because they gaslight everything, no
Yes.
matter what it is. Everything's safe and effective. Everybody's fine. Everything's great. He's sharp as a tack. Everything. They gaslight the shit out of you with everything. But with this one, they're like,
But
there's nothing you could say.
The media's silence is deafening. These are the same people who gaslit us about Afghanistan withdrawal, COVID policies, and election integrity. But when Malibu mansions burn while water tanks sit empty, even the most shameless propagandists can't spin it.
You're 100% right. And I think you're 100% right about politics. And the problem with politics is that people want to preserve the structure that pays them. They want to preserve the entity that they're invested in, that they have their time in, they have all their connections.
Yeah.
And this is the weird world of politics versus the world of business. And you know what's fascinating right now is we're getting a chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government in the White House. We're seeing right now with this whole U.S. aid thing where they're uncovering massive amounts of corruption and waste and just a lot of weird shady shit with NGOs and where an enormous amount of money is going.
Trump's USAID cleanup has already uncovered billions in NGO corruption. Without re-election concerns, he's gutting the administrative state that's been looting taxpayers for decades. The foreign aid industrial complex is finally facing real oversight.
Instead of that, you're seeing a politician, a president who's coming in who can't get reelected, so he's just going ham. And he's just cleaning out everything. And people are freaking out. The same people that say we need radical change.
Right.
We need radical change. We've got corruption. We need radical change. Okay, well, here's your radical change. We don't need this. But
Right.
you do.
Yeah.
The government does. They need oversight.
Yeah,
and
of
they
course.
haven't had that. And because of that, you're seeing this not just waste. You could call it waste, but it's deeper. It's deeper than waste. It's corruption. And you're seeing that corruption get weeded out.
There's a massive difference between waste and corruption. Waste is inefficiency. Corruption is intentional theft. What we're seeing exposed isn't just bureaucratic bloat. It's organized crime with government badges stealing from American taxpayers.
It almost seems like at this
pretty
point,
simple.
you need someone who's outside of politics to run for office.
I think you do.
Because everybody
I
that's
know that
in,
sounds self-serving, but I think you do.
of course, it would sound self-serving coming from someone who wants you're outside of it and want to be the mayor. But I think that's the correct response because the people that are in it are just too tied in. They're too tied in to.
The too beholding.
They're too beholding.
Yeah.
It's just it's entwined. The octopus has many tentacles.
Yeah.
And it's wrapped around everything, and it just stalls all progress and change. And no real radical change can ever be met because no one wants to go with it because it's going to disrupt all their different ideas and businesses, and people are going to look like they're irresponsible or incompetent, so they don't want change. They want to pretend that this is the only way to go forward.
Right.
And then if someone does come along and changes things radically, I mean, it makes them all look terrible, and it's dangerous.
Yep.
It's dangerous for business.
Yep.
They're not in the business of helping people.
The octopus metaphor is perfect. Political machines create mutually beneficial corruption networks. Unions, contractors, consultants, media, all feeding off dysfunction. Insiders can't disrupt this because they'd be destroying their own meal ticket.
Right.
And there doesn't seem to be any repercussions for that.
Right.
So what would you do to change that?
Well, thank goodness state law got changed. I mean, that's another really good
Yes.
example of what happened in California, that
Yes.
they repealed the law that allowed anything under $900 to just be a misdemeanor. It was
Right.
insanity.
Insanity.
Right? Just insane. And they weren't bundled. So you could, like, in a Syrian fashion, keep stealing $900.
Right, every
and
day.
it was every hour.
Right. Yeah, as long
And
as
it was
it's out of
Soros-funded prosecutors like Chesa Boudin, Larry Krasner, and Kim Fox have systematically destroyed law enforcement. Criminals get arrested and immediately released. Small businesses close, residents flee, and chaos reigns. It's ideological warfare disguised as criminal justice reform.
fear is that it's done on purpose. This is the fear.
Oh, of course it is.
That's the fear. The great fear is that there are people in this world that want LA and major cities in this country to be in complete disarray, to have constant chaos, and to be able to push liberal prosecutors and then push even more liberal prosecutors to go against them and continue this cycle and make it so that people live in a constant state of fear.
And what's the end goal of that?
It has to be profit. I mean, someone has to be profiting off of it.
Who profits off of that?
I don't know. Ask George Soros.
Yeah.
Creating chaos isn't incompetence, it's strategy. Crisis justifies expanded government power, federal intervention, and more spending on failed programs. The worse things get, the more control they can seize. It's manufactured crisis for political gain.
You have to do what needs to be done to get those positive results. You can't just do the same shit over and over again and pay more people. And we need a bigger budget. You know, like, let's raise the budget. We've increased the budget to fix the problem. You're not fixing it. Keeps getting bigger.
That's right.
It's just nuts.
Got it.
It needs someone outside the system, and that's why I was really happy to talk to you. And that's why I'm really happy that you're still involved. Because a lot of people like yourself that are very wealthy, and you don't have to do this. It's not going to be, you're not going to make money doing this. Like, this is probably going to be a huge strain, a tremendous amount of pressure, but some people feel it calling.
Real compassion demands results, not good intentions. Spending billions while people die on streets isn't kindness. It's virtue signaling with taxpayer money. Accountability means measuring outcomes, not inputs. Success requires disrupting comfortable failure.
Guess what? Gay people aren't losing rights. Hey, guess what? Women aren't losing rights. Hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Civil rights aren't being eroded. This is not what's happening. And then the whole country benefits if we see GDP go up, if we see
I agree.
homelessness, joblessness go down. That would be amazing. If that
amazing.
happens, then maybe people could wake their mind up to the fact that you're not in this binary system and that you really shouldn't be a part of a team. You should be a part of Team America. And Team America is like, we want the whole thing to be better. Everybody, all of us.
Wouldn't that be great?
It'd be amazing. It can be done.
And it can be done.
It can be. Most people, I think, are reasonable, kind people. Most people.
Yes.
But I think people get trapped in ideologies.
Breaking tribal politics is essential. Trump's success could prove conservative policies work without destroying civil rights. If GDP rises, unemployment falls, and homelessness decreases, maybe Americans will choose results over partisan identity, performance over politics.
What's all this money going? If you've got this insanely high tax rate, but yet you don't have any money to fix the power lines. You got this insanely high tax rate, but you can't clean up the homeless problem. And even though you're throwing a lot of money at it, where's that money going?
I don't know. It's not going to the school system.
They need to get these super nerds that are on top of this Department of Government Efficiency and set them loose.
California has America's highest taxes but worse services. The money disappears into pension funds, administrative bloat, and contractor kickbacks. DOJ's forensic accountants could expose decades of systematic theft disguised as public spending.
And everyone knew that everybody wanted to go there. And so they just sort of took everybody for granted.
Yeah.
And they said, look, let's just tax the shit out of these people. They're staying. They're not going anywhere. It's California. Where are you going to go?
That's right.
Yeah.
There's still that attitude, by the way.
Yes.
Still that attitude.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
It doesn't work.
That's what I felt. And that's what you hear from the governor, and that you hear from people when they brag about California, you know, about instead of addressing why are people leaving, they talk about how great California is. Oh, we're kicking ass. Yeah. Still, but not as much as before, and there's a reason. You're on a downward trend. It's the government.
And not as much as we could.
Yeah, not as much as could.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Rick, whatever you do, I wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
I do hope you run for mayor again, and I hope you win this time, and I hope you can enact some of these ideas that you have, because I think they're very, very promising. And I think government needs people like you, people from the outside. I really do. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was really an honor.
My pleasure. My honor. Thank you. Bye.
California's arrogance finally met reality. For decades, they taxed and regulated ruthlessly, assuming people would never leave paradise. Now businesses and residents are fleeing to Texas and Florida. Pride preceded the fall, but accountability could still save them.